Good evening. Next Tuesday it'll be exactly a year since an IRA bomb killed 11 people and injured 43 at the cenotaph in Enniskillen. Among the victims of the Remembrance Day bombing was Mary Wilson. At the time, the words and bearing of her father, Gordon Wilson, moved the world. At a reception in London today, the Secretary of State, Tom King, congratulated him on being accorded the title Man of the Year.
I shall never forget hearing that broadcast that Mr. Wilson did. I don't think anybody who heard it around the world will forget it. As a shining beacon of Christian love, shining out of the awfulness of that outrage.
In the days that followed the atrocity, Gordon Wilson spoke publicly of praying for forgiveness for those who caused the death of his daughter. The courage and compassion with which those words were spoken is still remembered and rightly honoured. The victims of the Enniskillen bombing belong to a church-going community. What happened has tested their faith to its very foundations, and some have not been able to bring themselves to share the sentiments of Gordon Wilson. Spotlight has been to Enniskillen to talk to the bereaved and the injured, some of whom are telling their stories for the first time. Shane Harrison reports.
Enniskillen, 12 months on, still scarred by last year's Poppy Day bomb. The injured and bereaved too are experiencing great difficulty in rebuilding their lives. At the time, the world was both outraged at the horrific carnage and moved by Gordon Wilson's words of forgiveness for the killing of his daughter, Mary. A nurse in Belfast's Royal Victoria Hospital, she was the youngest of the 11 victims.
I bear no ill will to anybody, nor does my wife. Keep asking myself why it wasn't me. I've had a good innings. There's no answer to that question. It's part of a bigger plan. Don't understand that plan. But if I didn't believe that, I'd commit suicide. It's got to be God's will.
You say that you bear no one any ill will. It must be very difficult for you not to feel bitter towards those who were responsible for leaving that bomb.
I haven't really had time to think of the wider implications. Certainly don't feel bitterness. People are surprised that I don't, but I don't. I prayed for them last night. Sincerely. And I hope I get the grace to continue to do so.
Worldwide, it was hoped Gordon Wilson's comments would herald a new dawn in cross-community relations here. For many, he came to personify the spirit of Enniskillen, a spirit of forgiveness and hope. But as the first anniversary of the bomb attack approaches, it's becoming clear not all the injured and bereaved share Mr. Wilson's sentiments.
You can't forgive a person that doesn't repent, and the IRA have not repented. They are quite insistent on continuing to murder and kill and destroy and maim.
If I really believed that they were genuinely sorry and that they weren't going to do it again and that they would give all the information they had to security forces to do whatever they could to stop this, then I hope I would forgive them.
I really think the Lord gave Gordon Wilson a message for the people that this is his way. This is the way he taught when he was here on earth, that we are to forgive those who hurt us. It isn't easy. I don't find it easy. It's something I have to pray about daily.
Every post a winning post.
Good morning.
Jim Dixon is 51 and with his wife Anna runs a residential home for the elderly in Enniskillen. Before this, he had businesses in Clones and Newton Butler. They were bombed a total of 11 times by the IRA. Mr. Dixon was one of the worst injured in the Poppy Day bomb attack. Both hips, his ribs and his pelvis were all broken, but worst of all were his head injuries.
My head was very severely smashed up. Eye sockets were blown out. The roof of my mouth was blown out. And very bad mess made of my head. The surgeon said it was a miracle that I remained alive.
Your face had to be completely rebuilt. What do you recall of that entire time?
Well, I think my memory blocked out most of it. The weakness is one of the most terrible things that I had to bear. I think it was greater than the pain. The night time was the worst to try to get the nights in because they couldn't give me morphine because of in case of brain damage. And the first few nights, 3 or 4 nights, were tremendous. I thought it would never end, with weakness and pain.
Did you ever want to give up?
Yeah, there was a couple of times that I thought it'd be easier to go on ahead and meet my maker than suffer on, especially when you think of the type of the world that we're in.
So how's it affected your private life and your personal life, like, for example, work, recreation, things like that? Things you used to do but that you don't do now?
Well, I feel as if I'm in a different body and no longer the person that I was. I did quite a lot of music. I still try to do a bit of it, but my coordination and that is not nearly the same as it used to be. I used to do a lot of memory music, but that's no longer as good as it used to be. I feel like a man of 70, with my zeal and my impetus gone. Very difficult to try to keep going whenever your body is fighting against you.
Do you feel bitter by what's happened to you?
No, I'm not bitter, but it has made me give an awful lot of thought to the reason that it is going on in Northern Ireland and the whys and wherefores to it.
And what sort of answers have you come up with?
Well, the answers that I've come up with, that it's not basically a thing between Catholic and Protestant, it's basically between an ism, which I know as their own Catholic Church, which wants to take over Northern Ireland and take it out of the hands of Protestants who love liberty and freedom.
And do you differentiate between the Roman Catholic Church and ordinary Catholics?
A big difference, yeah. As a Catholic, you must do what your church bids you, and I respect a Catholic that does that. But it's the Catholic Church that I blame for the troubles that we have in Northern Ireland.
How do you view the IRA?
I view the IRA as no different to any other person. But unfortunately, to carry out the deeds that they carry out, they have to be motivated by an evil force. That evil force, I believe, is their own Catholic Church.
What do you mean by that?
I believe that the IRA are the wing of the Roman Catholic Church that is fighting to separate Ulster from Great Britain.
Even though last year at Enniskillen, Cardinal O'Fee criticised the IRA in very, very trenchant terms.
Yes, I believe that the Church of Rome speaks with a forked tongue. They speak in love on one hand, and they are prepared to sacrifice people on the other hand. And it doesn't make any difference whether it's a Catholic or a Protestant that gets in the road of the Church of Rome. If they, it doesn't matter what religion they are, if they get in the road of the Church of Rome, they'll be wiped out.
Is it your view that in any way Gordon Wilson's comments, perhaps in a state of shock immediately after the death of his daughter, do you think that perhaps he was misrepresented, or the message was misrepresented, perhaps by the media even?
I feel that it was misrepresented. I don't believe that Mr. Wilson could really in his heart forgive the IRA for blowing that beautiful girl that I knew so well to pieces on the streets of Enniskillen. No rational person can forgive a man that did the like of that. God, in his great mercy and his great love, hasn't forgiven him. How could a mere human being do it?
Anna, do you share those opinions that were expressed by Jim there?
Yes, I have to share those.
Could you elaborate?
They would be my own sentiments. But I think it's our duty to pray for the IRA, pray for those people who have perpetrated those deeds. And if they repent, ask God to forgive them, come and ask me to forgive them, and bear the penalty for the deed they have done. I would accept them with open arms.
When we think of Enniskillen, we think of Gordon Wilson's interview where he forgave the IRA, and we think of the various church services in which the two communities appeared to be coming together. 12 months on, can I ask you for your opinions about that whole period?
Well, I don't really understand coming together. I was always together. I had Roman Catholic neighbours, I employed Roman Catholics, kept Roman Catholic residents. I never made any difference. But I cannot share the Roman Catholic faith, and I won't hinder them having their faith, and I don't want them to hinder me having mine.
How would you describe relations between the two communities now?
I would still think relations would be strained as far as Roman Catholic versus Protestant is.
Strained in what way?
I can't accept that there would be a full trust between the two communities.
Because of what happened at Enniskillen, or because of the troubles in Northern Ireland generally?
Because of the troubles. Not alone Enniskillen.
Just personally speaking now, can you forgive the IRA for what they did to you?
You can't forgive a person that doesn't repent, and the IRA have not repented. They are quite insistent on continuing to murder and kill and destroy and maim. And unfortunately, Enniskillen would have been only a sideshow to what would have happened in Petticoat if those young children, Protestant children too, had been wiped out of that horrific bomb there.
So what you're really saying is you can't forgive the IRA?
No, there is no such thing as forgiveness for a person that doesn't repent. God does not forgive anybody that doesn't repent.
And I work myself, so...
Pam Whitley and her sister Stella Robinson lost both their parents, Wesley and Bertha Armstrong, in the bomb. Aileen Quinton's widowed mother, Alberta, was also killed in the blast. Alberta, who served in the Royal Air Force, was a regular attender at the cenotaph on Remembrance Sunday.
The gap that anybody close to you makes, there's just things you want to tell them, and a lot of the time that you forget that they're not there, and you're on the point. You know, of telling you think of something, oh, I must remember to tell Mummy that. Even if it's something to do with the fact that she's dead. If you meet somebody in the street and they start talking about her, you're sort of thinking, oh, I better go and tell her what such and such so-and-so was saying about her. But you can't do that anymore.
And what do you feel about that?
Well, obviously I wish it just wasn't so. And I can't fully believe it. I can't take it completely in that such an awful thing has happened to Enniskillen. But then it's even worse to take it a stage further and believe that it's actually happened to my family.
What's this last year been like for you?
Terrible. I miss them very much. Can't pick up the phone. Just not there anymore.
Aileen,